Disclaimer. This is a work of satirical fiction. Any resemblance to real places or situations is purely coincidental and exaggerated for comedic effect. The story intentionally contains factual inaccuracies and absurdities as part of its artistic expression.
You wrap your rules in ribbons, call it keeping people safe. Cameras on the corner, writing names on every face. You say it's for our own good while you lock another door. Red tie, blue tie, same boot on the same old throat as before. These boots are made for licking, so that is what you do. But one of these days, these boots are gonna stamp all over you. Yeah, these boots are made for licking. You bow when they come through. But one of these days, these boots are gonna stamp all over you. Hey! Curfew in the courtyard, tanks rolling past the school. Preacher bless the strong arm, anchor calls it law and cool. Right hand waves a Bible, left hand signs a ray. Different flags, same fist, different mask, same blade.
Jeff and Apples walk the street, talking about the sky so neat. Weather weapons causing storms, globalists with secret forms. Jeff and Apples, what a pair, whisper plots while breathing air. Apocalypse is on its way, but they still find time to play. But they still find time to play. But they still find time to play.
How you doing today, Apples? Oh, good. Glad you're back from the Dominican. I was waiting for you here at the ranch, having a good time. I think Max is coming soon. What are we gonna talk about? Jews? Total control of the world? Yeah, you got it, Apples. Oh yeah, it is nice to be home at the ranch, which is getting pretty close to being done. Like we're living here now. Still didn't finish the kitchen though. About 2 months late. They say this weekend. We'll see. It's Mexico. It's a good thing. Hey, Apples, come on. She's not even coming with me on the ranch, Apples. Apples, come on. It's hot. It's hot. I'll wait for you here. Apples. I see Max Igan's actually got one of my other dogs now, and she's doing like a perfect like Lucy job with him. Natcha. And I got Apples, but she doesn't really come with me. That's all right, though. It's the way she goes. But, yeah, so much stuff going on. I thought I'd better come out and do another video. It's insane. There's just like 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks into the year. It's already been so many things, and there's so many more things to talk about. Of course, I can't really talk about it on X much. And of course, I've mentioned many times in the past, because it's so obvious, that I'm massively, massively shadow banned on X. And interestingly, and I heard about this from Stu Peters, who's going to be speaking at Anarchapulco. He posted that they found a way to ask Grok to show you your like social credit score on X. And it works. If you want to do it yourself, just go to my X account. You might not even be able to find it if you search for it, which I'll get into in a second. But just go to my X account. I'll put it on screen. Is @BerwickJeff, because I think some scammer already stole my name. And it's one of my most recent posts. And actually, right below the post, I put the link to where you can ask for your social credit score. And a lot of people have been doing it. And so I went and did it. And drum roll, please. I'm massively shadow banned. and this is straight from Grok, I'm highly visibly reduced, I'm deboosted, I'm suppressed in search, and my reputation score has been reduced by 75 to 85%. And the reason given is that I talk about protected groups, Jews, they are a protected group on X, and that I talk about the Trump regime's link to Zionists, which is just facts. Yeah, so much for that free speech platform.
Freedom of speech, not freedom of reach.
Oh yeah, you can say whatever you want, just no one can see it, which is kind of the whole point of a social media site, right? They're so good at what they do. They even have so many people still thinking Elon Musk is their savior. Does anyone still think that? I don't think anywhere near as many people think that. That was like a year ago when everyone fell for the Trump thing. But I'm sure there's still a few out there who think he's like some sort of a good guy. He's trying to get out the free speech. Nope. It's actually a giant honeypot for Palantir and Israhell. And we already know that at some point they're going to go out and try to basically kidnap, put into camps, or kill anyone who has similar beliefs to mine. That's partly why I'm glad to be in Mexico. Yes, we do have a Jewish president, but the government doesn't do a lot here. As opposed to the US, like I would, like actually, like to live in the US, no chance, like zero. Because all you're basically doing is waiting until the ICE agents show up at your door. And they've even said that they might do like a blackout and they just go out and take out everyone. So you can just imagine, like, if they did this, like Stu Peters would be gone. Obviously, he lives in the US. Very dangerous. And if they were successful, like I'd be gone, Max Igan would be gone. All kinds of people speaking about this stuff would just be gone. You know how they talk about like the Soviet Union and stuff, and how people were like super cautious about saying anything because they knew if they said like anything, they could end up in the camps. That's how it could work here. Like imagine everyone who kind of speaks out against Israel is all of a sudden just gone one day. Now I don't think that's going to happen to me, but it could. I doubt it though, but it could. But just imagine, like, is anyone going to go on any platform and actually speak up about it? No. You see how it'll work? They'll just roll it out that way, and they'll probably take out like millions of people. All the kind of people who have these sort of beliefs, which are true beliefs, and then there'll be hardly anyone left to talk about it. And if there is anyone, they'll be too scared to ever, like they're not going to be posting a video about this once that happens, right? That's where we're getting to. It's a good thing Christoph Melchizedek says that basically the matrix has been deconstructed now and they're losing all their power. And you might want to hope that's right. I think it is right, by the way. But, because that's one of the only chances we have at this point. That's how far they've gone with all this stuff. As Stu Peters mentioned, he looked up a few other people, like Ben Shapiro. He said, while our accounts are being throttled, Ben Shapiro is being amplified on X. For you, push level high, strong engagement, amplification for political news audiences. Yep, Ben Shapiro, Mossad agent. Laura Loomer, Mossad agent. All the MAGA people, the Gunther Eagleman and Cat Turd, all CIA, get massively promoted. And anyone who actually tells you what's actually going on is, you can't, hardly anyone will ever see it. It's incredible how they've done it. Of course, they've been doing this for a long time. Like as an example, past Anarchapulco speaker John McAfee, who was a friend and spoke at Anarchapulco, also a Monero advocate. Like he was just awesome. But he began exposing basically a lot of the stuff that we're still talking about today. Sort of the Epstein stuff, the relation to Israhell, the Mossad. And he actually stupidly in retrospect, told them he had, because he had hacked into their systems, because he was just awesome, and he had all the proof of all these things. And then they found him, kidnapped him, put him in a cage in jail in Spain, and killed him one night. And I was aware of what happened to his apartment in Florida, but I didn't realize a lot of the details. Literally the same day they killed him, all of a sudden, his apartment building in Florida, where he had an apartment, all of a sudden did a World Trade Center 7 and just imploded at free fall speed with nothing that happened to it.
We all remember the apartment complex that just mysteriously building 7'd into rubble.
Yeah, just
wasn't
hit by a plane.
In North Miami. That was in Bal Harbor. And that happened on the same night that John McAfee died.
Wow.
And it's believed that he had an apartment or information stored in this one little apartment in Bal Harbor. When that apartment building collapsed, they didn't let American response teams or like emergency teams do all the digging. Jake, I'm not even kidding. Go look this up. They literally brought in the IDF to dig through the rubble. Dude, it's Ron DeSantis had a whole ceremony where he was like patting the IDF on the back. He's like, thanks.
How can they rationalize this? How can they bring the IDF to handle American matters? This is insane.
Dude.
Surprised the FBI didn't look into that, or 9/11, because they're all in on it, of course. But it just goes to show you just how deep they are into almost everything. Like even John McAfee saying he had proof of a bunch of their sort of child sex trafficking / Israheli Mossad sort of things. They not only killed him, but blew up an entire building just to make sure. Which is kind of interesting. Like, I guess they never heard of the cloud, but who knows? But we actually never did see that information, so maybe it was on a USB stick in that building. So they blew up the entire building and then like destroyed everything in it to make sure it never got out. And like they do this stuff all the time. Like for example, it's the NFL playoffs right now. Houston Texans linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair wore eye black that said "Stop the Genocide." That's interesting. And then another player, Minnesota Vikings kicker Greg Joseph, wore cleats that said, "I stand with Israhell." Guess which one got fined? Texans linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair fined by NFL for "Stop the Genocide" eye black. The Minnesota Vikings kicker, nothing. What's most interesting is a lot of the sports stuff put up stuff like this. NFL player fined $11,593 for anti-Israhell eye black. Just to remind you, it said "Stop the Genocide." Didn't say anything about Israhell, but I guess it's that obvious at this point. Oh man, this video is going to get my social credit score destroyed even more, because literally the whole thing's about Jews, Zionists, Synagogue of Satan. Something that's actually there for anyone who wants to see in the actual Bible. And for anyone who's like a Jesus believer, he called them the Synagogue of Satan, said what they were, and they're still doing that to this day.
I'm hopeful about Israel because my people, the Jewish people, emerged from the depths of hell.
You are of your father the devil, and your will is to do your father's desires. John 8:44.
It's not like any of this is even new. Every president since JFK, remember what happened to him? He was the last president who spoke up about Israel. Ever since then, every president's been not only supportive of Israel, but basically backed Israel more than they even backed the U.S.
The Jewish state has never had a better friend in the White House. We have to get the people of our country, of this country, to love Israel more. I have to tell you that. We have to do it. We have to get them to love Israel more.
America's commitment to Israel's security flows from a deeper place. The bonds between the United States and Israel are unbreakable. And the commitment of the United States to the security of Israel is ironclad.
And let me be clear, I will always stand up for Israel's right to defend itself, and I will always ensure Israel has the ability to defend itself.
I get criticized for having said it a long time ago. You need not be a Jew to be a Zionist. I'm a Zionist.
We can say today that America is Israel's oldest and best friend in the world.
Yeah, every single president, but no president has been more pro-Israel than Donald Trump, who's been fully supporting the genocide, fully supporting the greater Israhell project, doing basically everything that Israhell wants. Attacking Venezuela for Israhell. He's surrounded by Jews, billionaire Jews, who somehow just missed it on 9/11, like the guy who stands right behind him all the time, who I think was the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, which was like on the 93rd floor or something, and every single employee died except for him. He wasn't there that day. Same with Larry Silverstein.
I'm getting ready, getting dressed to go to the dermatologist. I have light-colored hair, light skin. The sun is a disaster for me.
You starting to get it yet? This has been around a long time, but it's only getting worse and worse now. We're actually getting close to the final conclusion of all this, which should be very interesting. And now the U.S. Is reportedly considering granting asylum to Jewish people from England, where they say they're under anti-Semitic attack. Yeah, Donald just looking out for those Jews some more. It's just incredible. I thought it was interesting the Wall Street Journal came out and said, Americans are the ones paying for tariffs, study finds. Wow, it took them like a year and a study to figure that out. It's very obvious. People or organizations in the U.S. order things from outside of the U.S. The people from outside of the U.S. ship it to them. That's the end of their transaction. Then the U.S. government goes, how much was it? $500? Give us $500 too. And that's how it works. It's like theft. That's all it is. It's just theft. But Wall Street Journal did a big report on it, a study, and found that actual people in the U.S. are paying for it. Of course they are. Like, I could have told you that in 30 seconds. But no, that's what's going to make America great again is, those taxes and tariffs. Which, again, I have to point out, the U.S. was founded after the England king tried to institute one tariff. And it was 2% on the price of tea, and they slaughtered everybody. And now it's like 100% on anything, and people cheer it on. The mind control is so incredible. And meanwhile, a lot of this stuff, like so much of it, well, there's a bunch of things that all these things are distracting from, right? One of the big distractions is the genocide in Gaza, which they're still doing. Another one is they're trying to basically destroy Iran right now. They've got Mossad agents in there, but it's actually interesting because they're finding them and killing a lot of them, which is very interesting. And you never hear that on the news. So they're distracting from that because they really want to attack Iran. They keep trying to say that people are against the government when actually a lot of the people there are kind of like they're against basically Israhell and the US coming in and attacking them. But they try to pose it as they're coming in to liberate them. Ring a bell? Iraq, Libya, Syria, Afghanistan. Never really works out that way. But another one of the things that, because they keep doing all these things to distract people from, is the Epstein stuff, which for the most part really has gone away. They've actually done it. You don't hear a lot of people talk about it anymore because there's only so long you can just say it every day, right? But I remember one guy was like so adamant about it back in 2023, only like 2 years ago. It was Donald Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr. Show us all the Epstein client list now. Why would anyone protect those scumbags? Ask yourselves this question daily and the answer becomes very apparent. Yeah, it is actually. Well, there was some Epstein news. The Department of Injustice says Congress cannot intervene in Epstein files release. No authority to appoint special master. Okay, let me see if I've got this correct. Act 1, Epstein files don't exist. Act 2, Epstein is a Democrat hoax. Act 3, fine, we'll release the files, and they put out binders with blank ink. Act 4, too many files, we need time. Act 5, redact and withhold the files again. Now we're at Act 6. No court can force us to release the files. Yeah, Dan Bongino's already taken off. Kash Patel, you know, he's working on just beating people and creating a police state in the U.S., and Pam Blondy's working with him on that. But she's also, you know, really focused on, you know, the important matters.
Miriam Adelson is amazing. What she has done for Israel, for our country, and for this world is second to none. Thank you, my friend. The sad truth is, for way too long, anti-Semitism has been allowed to grow unchecked in this country. Too many institutions have abdicated their moral responsibility to speak up. Too many so-called leaders have stayed quiet. Actions have consequences, and inaction has consequences too. We've sued violent protesters under the FACE Act for intimidating Jewish Americans worshiping at synagogues. This is the first time since its passage, the FACE Act in 1994, that it has been used to protect a house of worship. Working with Secretary Linda McMahon, who has been a champion for you as well, and Harmeet, we have secured a $200 million settlement with Columbia University for violating the civil rights of Jewish students.
You get used to it. I don't even see politics or party sides anymore. All I see are Epstein clients serving a corporate Uniparty oligarchy loyal to Israhell. Funny thing is, a lot of people are figuring it out. Who knows it's a Uniparty? A lot of people now. Who's going to stop playing party politics? Very few. You know, once you get into a habit and mind control for your entire life, it's hard to give it up. So a lot of people kind of sense this or know this at this point, but they still got to support their one side, their one team, which is all part of how they do these things. It's funny too, because I've been posting a lot about this ICE stuff, doing some videos on it and stuff. Got some more dogs over here. And I saw one commenter on X. He was like, screw you, you commie, to me. So clearly like a MAGA person. And I found it so funny that he's calling me a commie, because from my perspective, he's a commie. He believes in a giant bureaucratic mind control government that controls almost everything, regulates everything, taxes everything. So he's a massive, massive commie to me, but he's calling me a commie because they just can't compute it, because they've been trained. There's just this left or right. There's nothing outside of it. You Democrats are hypocrites too. I'm not a Democrat. Does not compute. Anyway, this is what I really care about. Here's our greenhouse. It's really coming along. We've already been picking some tomatoes, some peppers, chilies, cucumbers. Yeah, we still got a lot more to do in here, but we're finally doing it. It's taken a long time to get to this point, but we're finally on the ranch, finally growing our own food. It feels awesome, I have to say. But as far as the Epstein stuff, even myself, I didn't realize how deep Donald Trump was into it. Like, I knew he knew Epstein, but I thought, well, you know, he knew him or something. No. Turns out, basically, Trump was Epstein's boss. This is what's coming out more and more. And then, of course, Trump has his bosses over top of him. The Rothschilds and all those sort of people. But there's even stuff like that we should have noticed. I should have noticed this before. I didn't even know about this. But this is an actual case that was in court. This is an actual court document from years ago that says defendant Trump tied plaintiff to a bed, exposed himself to plaintiff, and then proceeded to forcibly rape plaintiff. That's interesting. Like, I don't have any, no one's ever charged me with anything like that because I haven't done it. But Trump's got a bunch. And then in Max Igan's most recent video, which if you haven't seen, I highly recommend it. It was one of his best videos in a long time. He had so much info in there that even I wasn't aware of and really tied it all together. Like, it's definitely like a video I highly recommend. I'll put it on screen. I'll put a link to it in the notes below. And I really recommend you check it out. And in it, he talked about this interview, this guy. I think it's an interview that someone did with him. It's like a 4-hour interview. And it seems to Max legit. I haven't listened to it myself, but I don't even know if I want to, because what Max says is the guy's describing how when he was like 10 years old or 12, he was basically sex trafficked, ended up with Donald Trump and a number of other people, and a lot of billionaires and stuff like that. And they were like torturing them like obscenely, like grotesquely, like horribly. Like cutting their toes off and raping them and then killing them and stuff like that. They'd even get the other kids to kill the other kids, and like completely insane. Now, I don't know if it's true, and that's the thing. Like with AI nowadays, and you know, anyone could just say anything. But Max says it's well worth the listen. And he says the guy really sounds legit by, you know, just his emotions and how he's talking about things and stuff like that. And it's actually up on vigilante.tv. I'll put it on screen, and I'll put a link to that in the notes down below. Max posted it. If you want to hear about that. Now, obviously, if that's true, then Trump is like way, way, way worse than even I thought he was. The thing is, you just don't know for sure. But I know I've seen enough. The guy is like evil for sure. Like, he's a psycho for sure. And he's getting like worse and worse and like crazier and crazier. And he's just 1 year in. He's still got 3 more years. I can't imagine. It's going to look like Biden near the end. It's going to be just insanity. Like, what did he just say? Because he's already doing it. Like, I see numerous things almost every day. I'm like, what? He said that? Like, he said Iceland calls him his daddy.
I'm helping Europe, I'm helping NATO, and I've until the last few days when I told them about Iceland, they loved me. They called me daddy, right, last time.
He just blabbers on, too. Like, he had like a 4-hour press conference, so it was like really long. And he was just talking about like everything and anything. He was talking about how his mom said he was going to be a Major League Baseball player, and they used to play outside of this mental institution, and he just rambled on and on.
He used to play Little League Baseball there at a place called Cunningham Park. He was quite the baseball player, you wouldn't believe. But I said to my mother, Mom, she would be there, always there for me. She said, son, you could be a professional baseball player. I said, thanks, Mom.
It's interesting, too, that Trump's talking so much about Greenland. And now this is another sort of Zionist, oligarch, technocratic billionaire sort of a thing again. So Bill Gates, Sam Altman, all these kind of people want Trump to take over Greenland and give them a place to do AI mining stuff in like the super cold area. And also it's got a ton of minerals and stuff. So this is like a complete corporate-backed sort of buyout sort of a thing. I should mention, too, I think Trump's net worth has skyrocketed since he got in. I think it's up like a few $1 billion since he got in, which, you know, it's just incredible. But anyway, it's kind of interesting that Greenland is part of Denmark. And it's interesting that like over 100 years ago, I think, Denmark actually did sell, drumroll please, Little St. James Island to the U.S. So yes, the Epstein's Island was sold from Denmark to the U.S. over 100 years ago as part of their U.S. Virgin Islands sort of a thing. Talk about an amazing turn of events. And you got to love the internet. So Trump's been talking nonstop. They're going to take over Greenland. They'll do it the easy way or the hard way, but they're going to be taking it over. And people in Greenland have been posting this about if they have to adopt American culture. And yeah, they've been all over the media, the CIA, mainstream media, talking about how they're going to take over Greenland, how, if they can't defend it, then the U.S. is just going to have to come and take it.
Denmark is a tiny country with a tiny economy and a tiny military. They cannot defend Greenland. They cannot control the territory of Greenland. Under every understanding of law that has existed about territorial control for 500 years, to control a territory, you have to be able to defend a territory.
That's kind of interesting. That's what a lot of people say about anarchy. They're like, well, if there was anarchy, then just basically the strongest person would just take over and steal and take everything, which isn't totally true. Not really true, because there's so many reasons why that wouldn't happen, because there would be no one big group who had all this power without government. But now that we have government, it's totally a Zionist occupied government. That's basically what they're saying is, yeah, if you can't defend something, they're going to come and take it, which, it's amazing how many people love that stuff. It's just such a basic wrong, right? There could be a lady passing me on the street and she has a $10,000 diamond ring. I can easily overpower her and take her ring. Now, should I? No. That is just basically evil. It's not the way to interact with other humans, right? But these people aren't really human. That's the thing. And it's so incredible too, because basically what Trump's been saying is, and he's actually said this, he said, if the US doesn't take it, then Russia and China are going to steal it. And that actually is basically a meme of Israelis, because that's what they always say. Basically, whenever they steal someone's stuff, they always say, if I didn't steal it, someone else would.
You are stealing my house.
And if I don't steal it, someone else is going to steal it.
No one is allowed to steal it, ya ammi. Jacob, this is not your house.
Yes, but if I go, you don't go back. So what's the problem? Why are you yelling at me? I didn't do this.
But
it's easy to yell at me, but I didn't do this.
You are stealing my house.
I haven't even mentioned the ICE stuff yet, which is massive in the US. I still laugh at people who go, oh, you live in Mexico, isn't it dangerous? It's if they're from the US, I'm like, what are you talking about? I really wouldn't take my family to many places in the US and stay there for a while. It's way too dangerous, especially with they speak Spanish. They're gonna get kidnapped and sex trafficked. The US is one of the most dangerous, least free, and pretty much impoverished places on earth. It really is. It's just a third world country. It's been hollowed out completely by Israhell, and they're continuing to do it, and they'll do it until the very end. But this ICE stuff is just crazy, just insane, just to watch humans doing this. Because basically you have some humans over here, some humans over there, and they're just doing their thing. And then these humans come in with costumes on and just start accosting them, kidnapping them, killing them. And it doesn't even make a lot of sense a lot of the time. A lot of these ICE people are actually Latinos and stuff like that. and like foreigners like who have come to the US. So a lot of them are attacking other people who have done something similar, but I guess they didn't get the proper stamp or something like that. But that doesn't even seem to matter. And we're starting to see that where, like there was one where the guy goes, why are you attacking me? He goes, because you've got an accent. And the guy's like, you have an accent too.
Why are you asking me for my paperwork? Because of your accent. I still, you have an accent too. Where were you born, sir? Where were you born at? Put your hands behind your back.
Ramon Monero was detained by U.S. Border Patrol agents outside his home in a Minneapolis suburb after an agent questioned whether he was a citizen because of his accent.
I'm from this country. You know what, sir? Now talking to you, hearing that you have an accent, I have reason to believe that you are not born of this country. So you just raised an accent? What country are you from?
According to Monero, agents took a photo of him and searched a system that indicated he's been a U.S. citizen since 2019. They also checked his U.S. passport card, which he keeps in his wallet, before letting him go. Monero, who was born in Mexico and obtained a U.S. passport in 2021, was detained in front of his 5-year-old daughter.
Well, she was shaking when I got in the home, and she's like, are you okay? That we're going to take you? I don't want to lose you. And I'm like, you're not going to lose me.
Go back to your country. We don't want your kind here. Like I was saying, it's not even about the citizenship or anything. They're just going around attacking whoever they want. As these people point out, he was telling them, I'm a US citizen, I got my ID right there, and they said they don't care. And even more insane, because what this is about is, you've got these people who are in a cult. It's called the government, status, basically. And a bunch of them have sold their soul to work for this criminal enterprise. And they're basically saying there's people that are not from here and they haven't gotten like our approval, and they probably haven't been paying our extortion and stuff like that. So we have to go get them. But they've actually been going after a lot of Native Americans, which you could say were probably their family was there before these people were. But the irony of it seems to be lost on a lot of people.
And I was getting ready, putting on my work shirt, standing outside of my ride, and all these rides pulled in one after another, the Suburbans. They all get out and they start yelling at me to face my vehicle and put my hands on the top of the vehicle. So I'm all right. Where I'm from, you learn that when it comes to the law, you do what you're told, otherwise things escalate. So I'm being compliant. About 4 or 5 rides down, they pull another guy out of his truck and they drag him on the ground, literally drag him on the ground. And then they toss me down, knees on the back, facing the pavement. That's when I heard him say immigration control. So I'm like, all right, hey, I'm full-blooded Native. My wallet's in the car. I have my ID in there, my social security card. The backpack in the back seat has my CIB and my birth certificate. And thinking I'm good after all that. They put me in one of the units. I'm in there for a couple of minutes, and then they start pulling off. So I was like, why are we leaving? You guys have my identification. And that's when they're like, well, that car, it came back under another name. It's not listed under the name that you gave us, which leads us to believe you stole the vehicle and you stole your identity as well. And so I started telling them, hey, I have a job, I have bills, I have kids. And their response was, oh, we'll get them next. Oh, I got picked up by ICE because I look how I do. But I'm not gonna lie, man, I'm not gonna put on some kind of hard front. This is something that has me angry, stressed, and worried. I gotta look over my shoulder all the time now.
Then I saw this news headline: ICE agents complain about Nazi comparisons, say they're only enforcing the laws, which is what the Nazi people said at Nuremberg. Like, the irony of all this stuff, the cognitive dissonance, it doesn't make any sense, seems to go over most people's heads. So people are saying ICE agents are complaining. They're complaining that people are calling them Nazis. And their response was that they're just enforcing the laws, which is what the Nazi people said when they're at Nuremberg. It's insane. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole Nazi thing and, why some of that stuff might have happened and why a lot of it was actually quite good. Because basically, a lot of people in Germany realized that these people who call themselves Jews wanted to basically kill them all, which is still the case with everyone today. And a lot of those things happened as part of it. So it's not like Nazis were all bad. I'm sure someone's going to quote that, and feel free to, because that's how I feel. They weren't all bad, but they were status, and they were doing status things. And I'm never for that, of course. But this is not about illegal immigrants. And that's the thing that a lot of people still don't get. And you see a lot of these MAGA people like cheering it on. They're using illegals as an excuse to create a police state aimed at you. But they can't see it. They got the red hat on, they're under mind control, and they just have tunnel vision. All they can see is deport the illegals. They can't see the ICE expanding budgets power, the militarized policing normalized, algorithmic pre-crime systems, biometric tracking, Palantir database, unaccountable enforcement apparatus, domestic extremists labeling, DHS and big tech fusion centers, permanent emergency powers, internal passport system, technocratic surveillance state. But all they see is deport the illegals, which even that, when you see people cheering that on, because you see like these families, and these are people who didn't get a permission from a violent, completely illegitimate criminal organization that supports genocide, that's actually been involved in massive, massive genocides. Hiroshima, Nagasaki, Iraq, there's so many of them. And people are like, well, they didn't get their permission, so it's good. And it's just so sad to see people, because basically these are just people, right? And they're just living their lives, and all of a sudden they're getting kidnapped, sex trafficked, killed, torn apart. And some people are cheering it on. And just that in itself has a ton of karma. Just so those people know, I know none of them are watching this. Zero. But I just want to say a ton of karma, and it actually will come back to you. Because if what you are cheering on is these people who haven't done anything to you, they haven't personally done anything to you, they probably haven't done anything to anybody, and you're cheering on them getting, beat up, kidnapped, raped, murdered, then you are basically evil. You're basically a psychopath. And a lot of people are. But they're also just under mind control. But when you cheer for those sort of things, that goes out into the universe, you can say, the matrix here, and it comes back to you. And when it comes back to all those people, I'm not going to be all happy that it came back to them. I think it's all kind of sad. But for the most part, I'm just sitting here shouting on BitChute, and masses of people are all opposing me with their blue striped flag and just comply, while I tell them, yes, you are all bootlickers. And that's what they are. They're bootlickers of the state. That was our intro song, by the way, which we made again with AI, the song, and our incredible video guy used some things, also probably some AI, to create the video for it. But that was our video song that I got actually from this meme. These boots are made for licking, so that is what you do. But one of these days, these boots are gonna stamp all over you. If you could just snap your fingers and everyone would be out of their mind control, most of these people would just, all these things don't need to happen. All these wars, all these horrible things being done by the government, if you woke them up to their mind control, they'd realize it's insane, and they'd just stop, and all of a sudden it'd be very, very peaceful. That's actually all it takes, is to break their mind control. But it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard. The mind control is pretty strong. And meanwhile, the peace president announced just a week ago or so, because he had already announced the largest military budget in history of $1 trillion a year, which is insane. And remember, he ran on bringing all the troops home. I remember him saying that. Stopping all the wars. And reducing the size of everything, the budget of everything. Then he increased the military budget massively. And then, a year later, he said he wants to increase it by 50%. So from 1 trillion to 1.5 trillion. And that's all basically capital that is stolen out of the US and put into the military-industrial complex to carry out the agenda of Israhell, which you'd think a lot of people would be kind of against, and quite a few are. But it just continues on. I've never passed an audit in my entire life, says the Pentagram. I know this, and I still want to give another $500 billion of stolen funds. Oh, hang on, we got a wild 3-year-old on his 4-wheel drive. Okay. Vete, vete. Adiós. We're having too good of a time over here. Remember when Trump said he was going to take out, like, okay. They're going to take out all the globalists and the World Economic Forum and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, no, they're not. They are that. Well, Trump just spoke at the World Economic Forum, Davos. And, that's where he speaks at. I don't know if anyone's starting to get this yet. But it's pretty incredible some of the stuff he's been saying. One of them was, he was still bragging. It's incredible. It's like I live in an alternative reality. Because it's obvious that the lethal injections are a massive way to genocide, make sick, and get the nanotech into everybody to control them by the 6G. Which, that's just obvious. I know it's not obvious to everyone, but it's obvious. And he still sits there. And I remember a lot of people, when Trump gets in, he's going to arrest Dr. Fauci. No, nothing. Kill Gates. No, he's doing some deals. He's giving him Greenland. Albert Bourla. No, keeps having him over to the White House. And he's still bragging about what he calls the greatest military feat ever. Now, think about that for a second. You know, a lot of these military people, they'll talk about all kinds of battles throughout history. Oh, there's the Battle of Waterloo, the Battle of, San Antonio or something. All these sort of things. The Blitzkrieg and all this sort of stuff, the Normandy and all these sort of things. So those are pretty big military things, you could say, feats that, one side won or whatever it was. But no, Donald Trump says releasing the lethal injection to kill, make sick, and control via the 6G was the greatest military feat of them all.
And so it began. And we ended up with the COVID, and the whole world suffered. We did a phenomenal job. I don't think we got the credit we deserved. We did something that Operation Warp Speed, which some people say was one of the greatest military feats ever. We did a great job. Used our military, used a lot of people.
And it was. That was Department of Defense with Mossad, with Israhell, to try to kill everybody and make them sick and give them all myocarditis, which we'll get into in a second. Because most people have it now. And most people have the nanotech in them. Then also at the World Economic Forum is Macron of France, who again I thought was gone years ago. But he's always around, always with his buddy, who sometimes is like smacking him around and stuff. He's like his buddy keeps beating him up. Well, Macron showed up to the World Economic Forum in Davos with like sunglasses on. And the reason is, they say, is that he's got an eye issue. And if you look at his eye, it's like totally red. Now, normally they do the left eye, but sometimes they do the right eye. But basically, that's how they kind of show the world or initiate them into like their final sort of a thing where they become completely not human. And yeah, you got Macron there with his basically black eye. It's just incredible. And it's all Davos theater. You have Davos left and Davos right. Same team, and they act like they're fighting. You're starting to get it yet. You should be starting to get it. I know a lot of you get it. But some people don't. I see them all the time in the comments. It's incredible. And it's not even just the left-right. Like, the left-right is obviously a show. And it's set up that way. But it goes even way beyond that. It goes to, like, basically every major government on earth is controlled in the same way by the same people. And you can see them all. Here in Mexico, Jewish president. Argentina, Jewish president. What's he doing? He just passed a law where you can buy land even though if it just got burnt down. And there's actually Israeli soldiers, actual soldiers in Argentina. Like, they've got like troops in Argentina.
En cuanto a tierras rurales, se libera la compra por parte de privados extranjeros. También se elimina la prohibición de cambiar la actividad productiva del campo por 30 a 60 años tras un incendio, una ley del diputado Máximo Kirchner que atenta directamente contra la producción.
And many of these Israeli soldiers, which they call tourists, have been burning down Argentina. But Milei, as soon as he got in, went and wept and kissed the wall, which is what you do. The Trump regime just went in and took out Maduro and put in the new Nobel Peace Prize winner, who's actually saying Trump should bomb Cuba and Colombia next, I think. So that's their Nobel Peace Prize winners. And now she might be like the president of Venezuela now. Every major corporation owned by these people who call themselves Jews, not even really Jews. That's something they kind of took over a long time ago, the Rothschilds and all that. They're actually Khazarians. And they are, though, what they talk about in the Bible. They are the Synagogue of Satan. And they take over almost every government on earth. It's actually been that way for a long time. But they put out all this stuff and make you believe they're all separate, they're all fighting with each other. No, it's all World Wrestling Federation stuff. And they're all basically friends. Anyway, one of the other things they're trying to distract people from is the imminent, and I mean imminent, financial crash, collapse, economic collapse, monetary system collapse. It's all basically happening right now, and I'll talk about that in just 1 second. But when I started the Dollar Vigilante in 2010, I would have never guessed that we'd reach this point and everything would be on the very verge of collapse, which is what I predicted. But I never guessed they'd try to blame it on aliens. And this is actually real. The Bank of England must plan for a financial crisis triggered by aliens, says former policy expert. And that's true. That's an actual former policy expert who's quite respected in their circles, told the Bank of England that they have to get ready for a financial collapse or a crisis that will be triggered by people finding out that aliens exist. So that's the Project Bluebeam stuff. And so they're already getting out ahead of it, because this is going to happen like any day now. It might happen by the time this video even goes out. Like, seriously. It won't all happen in one day, but like a major event, then a major event, then it's going to happen fast once it starts to happen. And it's like this close right now. And it looks like they're going to try to blame it, not on all the people who did all this, all the people who set up this whole system, all the people who made it so it's going to collapse. The central banksters, the Zionists, all these sort of people. The Masons, all these sort of people. No, they're going to blame it on aliens. I can't even believe this apocalypse. This Matrix is getting insane. It like totally jumped the shark. If you don't know where that came from, that's actually from Happy Days, which I remember watching when I was really young. With the Fonz, who, drum roll place, the cool character in the show is a Jew who acts like he's like cool. And after years and years of the show, they were running out of ideas, and they had the Fonz water ski and jump over a shark. So that's where the saying comes from, because after that, the show, everyone's like, okay, that's enough. It's getting too stupid. That's how this whole Matrix is getting right now to me. It's like, I can't believe it. But they're actually doing it. Silver's on the loose, new highs. The cooling issue failed. The margin raise failed. Release the aliens! Yeah, gold is at another new all-time high, even since my last video. Almost every video I've done for the last year, it's been at an all-time high. It's just skyrocketing and skyrocketing. That tells you something, that we're very close to this financial crisis / collapse. And I posted this on X too. This was just a few days ago. That within about like an hour, like almost at the same time, Bitcoin started to plunge, and it plunged a lot past 93,000. And at the same time, silver skyrocketed and went past $93. I thought that was kind of interesting, very telling sort of a thing of where things are headed right now. And if you pay attention to like the Federal Reserve or the mainstream media, they'll all be telling you they're lowering interest rates, right? And they actually have to do that because the US government debt, there's so much rolling over this year that it'll basically be bankrupt if interest rates are this high. So the Federal Reserve's been actually lowering the interest rates. And if you've been paying attention, if you've been a Dollar Vigilante subscriber since we started in 2010, I've talked all about this day for years, that there'll come a point where the Fed will lower rates and interest rates in the market, which is what counts, because they're just a bunch of guys, a bunch of commies in a boardroom, where interest rates in the market will actually go up even though they're trying to lower them. And that's where we're at now. Here's the US 30 yield. You're not getting a cheaper mortgage. But even the US interest rates aren't happening in a vacuum at all. In fact, all this stuff's happening because in Japan, they've been keeping the rates like near zero for like decades. And they can't stop the market now. It's actually gone pretty crazy. Here's the Japanese 30-year bond yield. Rose 28 basis points to 3.875% recently. These are like huge moves in the bond markets. Looks like now my 3-year-old is done with his quattrimoto, as they call it. And now he's off in his racer. Adios! Yeah, he's got quite the life. There's been very few people who are quite well known who've talked about what's actually going on. But there's one who's been pretty right on most of it, and that's Ray Dalio, who was also at Davos. And he just bluntly said what's going on right now.
Let's step back from the sensational and be clear about what I mean. The monetary order is breaking down. Okay. What I mean by the monetary order is that fiat currencies and debt as a storehold of wealth is not being held by central banks in the same way. And that there was a change. The biggest market to move last year was the gold market, far better than the tech markets, right, and so on. And the U.S. markets underperformed foreign markets because of the fact you could see it in the numbers of the central banks and so on. So let's just look at the fact that on the other side of trade, deficits and trade wars, there are capital. and capital wars. And so as we're looking at that, and you reported what the stock market and so on, but you didn't report that the gold market is also up 3.
We did say that earlier this morning.
Okay.
It's up to
But
record
I'm
levels
saying
again. And silver.
Is you look at what is happening and why it's happening and who's buying it. So let's just take a moment on that capital war issue, okay? We know that both the holders of U.S. dollar denominated debt, which is money, and those who need it, the United States, are worried about each other, right? So if you have other countries who are holding it and they're worried about each other and we're producing a lot of it, that's a big issue, right? So you have to explain what is going on with fiat currencies, generally speaking. And now if you take the conflicts, you can't ignore the possibility that capital wars, in other words, maybe there's not the same inclination to buy U.S. debt and so on. We at least need to talk about those possibilities and find out who is buying and selling what that is behind these market movements.
And that's what's happening. The monetary order of fiat, fractional reserve banking, central banking, fake Babylonian script that they've used mind control and all kinds of tricks and like violence, that's legal tender laws and stuff like that, and taxes to make people have to get these things. It's all dying right now, which is so great. This is everything I've been talking about. For 15 years I said this is coming and it's what the world needs. We need to get rid of all these evil systems and start interacting like human beings again, without all these violent, thieving organizations called governments. Stop using communist central banking money, because that's how they basically destroy you and impoverish you. And it's all going away now. It's so great. And because of it, like I said, gold and silver are skyrocketing. Like I showed the other day, at the US Mint, silver is now trading for $173 an ounce. Like, this is hyperinflation. This is Zimbabwe. This is where we're at. And it's total. That's what I said was going to happen after that COVID. When Trump, the last time, increased the U.S. deficit by more than any other president in history after saying he was going to pay off the debt and balance the budget. But of course, there was an emergency, which was completely made up, called the COVIDs. And then he came back and then again did a massive, massive spending bill called the Big Beautiful Bill, BBB, small letters, 666, flip it, everything's inverted. And with all that, what that does is it creates massive amounts of new currency units called dollars. And that creates basically inflation, then it leads to hyperinflation. And that's where we're very close to right now. And this is everything I've been talking about. This is why we started the Dollar Vigilante. A lot's changed since we started. A lot of my views and beliefs about the world and even what reality itself is has changed dramatically since it started. But I said this day was coming, and we're basically here now. And it's going to just get crazier and crazier. But with gold and silver massively skyrocketing, it's pretty incredible that the gold and silver stocks haven't gone into like what you would call a bubble. In fact, they're still massively undervalued. Because you don't see any brokerage, any analyst saying you should buy gold or silver stocks. Who do you see saying that? The Dollar Vigilante. It's a huge part of our portfolio. And some of them are up 300% or more in the last year. And I haven't even looked in the last few weeks. It's got to be up way more now. But it's still massively undervalued. As this person says, junior miners are poised for the greatest technical breakout in the history of markets. If you look at that chart, and these are junior miners, they actually haven't gone up a ton yet, because just so you know, it always, or almost always, goes like this. Gold and silver go up in price. Then the big major mining companies go up in price a lot, more than gold and silver did. And then after that, the speculative money is searching for the next big thing, and they go into what's called junior miners. These are small mining companies. Some of them might not even be producing. And some of these returns, just so you know, And I've gone through numerous of these. I went through it in 2006. I made a lot. And I was invested in junior mining stocks back then. I was listening to Doug Casey. And some of them were up like 1,000% or more. And then you even get warrants if you participate in the financing. And of course, there was like 1920s. A lot of them, these sort of things were up thousands of percent. And I think this one's just getting started. And it's so amazing to me that I tell people these things all the time. Like I was talking, go back, if you can find them. Most of them have been deleted. But if you can find my videos from 2011, 2012. I don't know if I did many videos, but I did interviews. I was on like things. And I was talking about Bitcoin since it was $3. And until it hit about 1,000 or even 20,000, most people said I was like an idiot. I was a scammer. I'm a shiller. I also recommended the Dollar Vigilante newsletter, Ethereum, at $3. It's now $3,000, so it's up 1,000 times. That's 100,000% since, or more. Is it more? I'm bad at math. They forced me to the government indoctrination camps. And ever since then, I don't know how to do basic math. But it's incredible. Like I talk about these things all the time. I talk about plasma right now. Hardly anyone listens. A lot of people, oh, he's a scammer. He's, this or that. It's a fraud. It's a lie. No. And that's going to change the world dramatically. I've been talking about this collapse that's coming. And it's now happening. But when I first started saying all these things, most people said they didn't listen to me at the very least. I don't know why that is. But hardly anyone listens to me. And then it's like years and years and years later when it's obvious, they kind of like listen to me a bit, but by then they already agree with it, and then they forget I even said it. So I really don't get any benefit from it, but I'm saying it again. The junior mining stocks could be the biggest sort of investment of the next year. And we'll be talking all about it. We talked about it last year, by the way, the Dollar Vigilante Summit, which was at Anarchapulco last year. A huge amount of what we talked about was getting into gold and silver mining stocks. This is back when silver was like $30, it's now $173. Back when gold was, I think, $2,500, $2,000, something like that. It's now almost $5,000. A lot of these stocks have gone up hundreds of percent. And we're going to be talking about it again this year at the TDV Summit. And that's going to be on February 21st, the day after Anarchapulco ends, in Puerto Vallarta. We're doing it live. So if you want to come to it, you should definitely come to the TDV Summit as well as Anarchapulco. And then the day after that is also the Crypto Vigilante Summit. And they'll be talking about everything to do with crypto. And by the way, the last TCV Summit was in September, or August, I think September. And the entire thing was focused on privacy coins. What happened? Right after that, tons of privacy coins went up hundreds or thousands of percent. So, if you're sitting there and you're like, I don't know if I should, go to or get the virtual of the TDV and TCV Summit, it's like, well, you're going to just miss out again. Now, there's no guarantee, right? Like, we probably can be wrong sometimes, but we're not, very rarely wrong. And just so you know, you can go to Anarchapulco and you can get tickets to Anarchapulco, TDV Summit, and TCV Summit. If you buy them all in a bundle, you get a discounted price. And you can also go there and get the virtual for all three. And I highly recommend it. This is going to be an incredible year for everything. And also sign up to our newsletter, because Ed Bugos is going to be releasing some of these junior mining stocks. He's been working on a few of them for like a long time now. He's found a couple just hidden gems. He'll soon be releasing them to our newsletter. So sign up, dollarvigilante.com/subscribe. Make sure you don't miss out on those. Some of those could go up easily hundreds and easily thousands of percent. Anyway, should finish up fairly soon. Oh, I saw that more and more evidence is coming out that the lethal injections cause myocarditis, which is what I said in like 2022, right after the lethal injections came out. But now it's becoming more mainstream. Pandemic myocarditis is caused by the lethal injections, not the SARS-CoV-2 infection, which doesn't exist. The false narrative still propagated in the academic medical community, ignoring the scientific evidence. Yeah, they did a fairly big study. 1.7 million children were studied, and the results found myocarditis and pericarditis. And it only appeared in the children who had received the COVID's lethal injection, which is all the stuff I've been saying since 2020. That's another thing that, like I was saying back then, a lot of people said I was crazy. Oh, Jeff, this is clearly real. Look, the crematorium in Mexico, the fires, they never stop burning.
The ovens never stop burning. Black smoke billows out from Mexico City's crematorium.
Jeff, it must be real. Every mainstream media CIA outlet in the world, every government in the world saying it's real. No, I knew immediately, immediately. And most people, like for at least 6 months to a year, I saw so many people just say I'm crazy. They're wearing their masks, they're getting their injections. Most of them are dead now or have myocarditis, which means damage to the heart, which actually within like something like 5 years, a lot of the people who have it will have heart attacks and eventually die of it. And most people who took those lethal injections have that now. And you can't even necessarily detect it that much. You have to actually go in and like really look for it, and then you'll find it if you're looking for it. But otherwise, your average person will think, no, I feel fine. Then boom, Pfizer.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
And what am I telling you in these videos? There's actually something incredible. The biggest rediscovery of our lifetimes, plasma, not only cures myocarditis. Max Igan's already cured someone of myocarditis. Like Max is amazing. He doesn't even talk about it. But it also de-ages you. I'm massively de-aging. My quantum biofeedback score is that I have a tissue age of a 30-year-old, the energy in the cells of like I think it's a 10-year-old. And I totally do. So many days recently, I've been up at 5 in the morning, go out on the racer with my son. And sometimes I don't go to sleep till like midnight, and I'm not even that tired. Like I can just go nonstop. Like I just got back from Dominican Republic, no problem. It's like no problem. Like just nonstop energy. It's so incredible. And so many people now have been talking about all the incredible things it's done for them. Like Choco Bald Eagle said, "Hi team, just a quick realization regarding eyes with a measurable result. I last welded at work in November last year. I noticed as the year went on that I needed to adjust my welding helmet to around shade 11, a brighter setting, as I wasn't able to see the weld pool with the darkest setting. Yesterday was my first day putting the helmet back on since November. I got the Tesla mid-December. I put the helmet back to 13 being the darkest setting so I could retune the helmet response and shade to be appropriate as I always do, safety first. Anyways, I welded all day for 6 hours on the darkest setting, seeing clear as day for the whole day, then drove 3 hours to see my family. I had 6 hours of sleep the night before, welded all day Friday, then made the trek to see my family and didn't get into bed until midnight Friday. My energy is amazing, stamina is back to 5 years ago, and my eyesight, I can read cereal boxes, small writing from across the room, even after welding all day yesterday." Yeah, so he's talking about the energy, like just nonstop. You can do anything. And so many people are so low energy now because of the nanotech. The nanotech actually uses most of the energy in their body. So if you have that in your body, it's probably causing myocarditis and it's stealing all your energy. You get the Tesla, you heal the myocarditis and get like superhuman energy and even start de-aging and stuff. And I mentioned the eyesight thing. I don't use glasses anymore. I just stopped using them a few weeks ago to look at a computer screen, because now when I put on the glasses, it looks fuzzy, but it's clear without the glasses. I even ordered glasses because I do these walk and talks with a phone and I have some notes on the phone. And it was getting to the point, it was definitely at the point where I couldn't read the small writing on my phone because, you know, I'm 55 years old now, although I'm basically like a 30-year-old again. But, so I ordered glasses that had like a thing where it would give me like my nearsighted vision improvement on the bottom part of my glasses. And by the time I got the glasses, because it took about 2 weeks to order, I didn't need them anymore. That's happened so much with me at the Tesla machine. It's actually cost me a lot of money, kind of, with stuff like that. I'll order something, I'll order prescription glasses. By the time I get the glasses, I don't need them because of the Tesla machine. It's incredible. There's going to be like 2 at Anarchapulco, by the way. Like, it's just incredible, all this stuff. If you don't know about it, go to tesla.club. Go there, go get a brochure. It'll send you an email. Then go into the open house. There's like hundreds of people in the open house talking about, some of them want to get one. Some of them already have one. They'll help you out. You can ask any questions you want. I think you're going to need it for this apocalypse, really. Maybe not need, but it would be super useful to have. Just like having a gun would be helpful as everything collapses, having the Tesla machine, because there's not going to be hospitals, doctors. You don't even want that stuff anyway. And they're trying to kill everyone on Earth. This is clear. That's what the whole lethal injections were that Donald Trump was just so proud of. Remember when he said he was going to look into 9/11 too? Remember that? The US government and Mossad did that. And then they tried to kill everyone with the lethal injections. And people still think this guy's some sort of hero because they think he's blessed by God because they shot him in the ear and he didn't die. Oh, you mean that photo op where they've got all the photographers, they put them all exactly right in the right spot to get that iconic photo. They even lowered the flag down to get in the photo from behind. Yeah, people fell for that. It's incredible that so many people don't get this stuff. They still fall for it all. And really, this is, like, it's all obvious. Like, here's a video a guy made with AI. It's actually gone pretty viral on the internet, and it gets deleted all over the place because it basically tells the truth about what this world is. And, when you just see something like that, you kind of just know it's true, because it's true.
You were born in a cold prison. It is your country, your state. Number 2, you have to pay for the prison stay. They call the prison fee taxes. Number 3, you have no say what will be done with the money. But you have to pay. Number 4, to pay the money, you have to work. The prison encourages you to buy new shiny products, so you feel better about your poor existence. Number 5, you are not allowed to exit the prison and live on your own. They will hunt you and make you pay. Number 6, only a few prisoners have walked far enough to see the prison wall. Number 7, the prison gives you news and entertainment so that you don't discover the prison walls. Number 8, the prison does not allow strong family bonds or strong brotherhood unless you are a part of the group that is running the prison. Number 9, the prison you live in wants you weak, sick, and divided.
Well, there you are, Apples. Oh yeah, sun's going down. Yeah, it's a little hot. You try wearing a big giant black fur coat, walking around the heat in Mexico. Yeah, you're right, Apples. I should be so hard on you. I'm not that hard on you. Yeah, I know. We're all good. I just do my best out here. Lucy was a champ. She could do anything. Not everyone could be like Lucy. No, it's true. Anyway. A lot of people, like most people, haven't woken up to this matrix yet. And this is what the apocalypse is. It's the lifting of the veil. People are starting to, but they haven't fully woken up to it yet. It's so cool that people like David Icke talk about a lot of the stuff that I talk about. Like, I talk about how I basically have done the self-work, the shadow work with a boga a couple times now. Meditation for hours a day for years and years to actually reach a state of consciousness where I can see what this all is, and I'm very present for all of it, because your average person isn't. Your average person is running with their mind all the time, and their mind is not them. And it's running the past, it's thinking about the future, it's thinking about this and what I want and all this sort of stuff. But if you can reach a point where you aren't entrapped into the mind, things are pretty incredible. And this is what David Icke talks about here.
Just take a month, and everywhere you go, everything you do, Do it from the perspective that you are infinite awareness, all-knowingness, having an experience. Doesn't mean you don't do the things that humans do, but you do it from the perspective of this is not me. This is an experience that me is having. Do it for a month. It'll change your life. Yeah. You'll never be the same again. Yeah. If you do it and consciously do it, you'll never be the same again. Because you'll realize that because of the insights you get, because of the intuitive knowings that you get, by the way you feel, you will know that the you thought you were is not who you really are. Just a month. But it's not about every now and again. It's everything you do. I am infinite awareness, looking into this world, having an experience. The experience is not me. This is me. And it will change your life.
And David Icke will be speaking on Anarchapulco. Max Igan, who's curing people's myocarditis with the Tesla machine, will be speaking in Anarchapulco. We're going to have 2 Tesla machines running in Anarchapulco. Christoph Melchizedek will be there. He'll be talking about all this stuff. Like really, if you can make it, you really should. And if you can't make it, I highly recommend you get the virtual. Because there's going to be so many incredible talks that if you haven't woken up to a lot of stuff yet, like what David Icke was just talking about there, if you haven't done this stuff yet, definitely come to Anarchapulco or at least watch the virtual, because so many of us will be talking about these things. And we can help you kind of get out of the matrix. That's basically what it is. That's what so many, like Max Igan's show for the longest time was called Surviving the Matrix. I've been talking about getting out of the matrix. And that's really what it is. None of this is actually real. And you might think, that's crazy, Jeff. It feels so real. I know, it's the most incredible 3D video game ever. And it also wipes your brain so you don't remember you're in a video game. But I can give you an example of how basically nothing is really real. And here's just a basic example. Now, is anything in it moving? For most people, it'll definitely move a bit or even a lot for some people. For hardly anyone will it just sit completely still. And that's partly just to do with how your mind processes things. But that is a still image. That is not moving at all. So think about this. What you're looking at right now is a still image. For most of you, it's moved at least a bit or even quite a bit since you've been looking at it. But it's not moving. So are you seeing reality correctly? Or think about it. Is your mind actually creating things that aren't actually there? In a way, you could say that your mind's kind of like AI, and it's constructing things because it thinks that's what it's supposed to be doing. So when you fool the mind, it'll show you things that don't actually, because that is not moving. It's not moving right now. So when it was moving, that was your mind creating it because it thought, because it got tricked. What else is your mind creating? Everything. Yeah, your mind literally creates everything. Everything. And none of it's actually real. And it's super cool once you figure this out. You can actually be in the video game, but know you're in a video game. And that is like next level. And you can actually manifest pretty much whatever you want in the video game once you know this. So if you're not doing this, if you don't know this stuff, if you're not doing this stuff, what are you doing? You're still stuck in the video game. If you can, come to Anarchapulco. It's February 16th to 20th. Going to have so many incredible people there. Christoph Melchizedek, to say the least. There's Jason Christoph. He'll be talking about how the mind control works. And if you can't make it, just make sure you get the virtual, which you can also get at Anarchapulco's website right now. I suggest you go get it. Anyway, my son's back from driving around. We'll finish it off with him. Muy bien. He's having too good of a time. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Anarchapulco coming up in less than a month.
Hey Anarchapulco, it's Christoph Melchizedek here. I'm so excited to be coming and joining you in Mexico this February. It's going to be a fabulous event as always. I've been enjoying coming out here 2 or 3 times in the past years. I guess I'm going to be bringing some interesting, hopefully, conversations in consciousness, speaking about sort of some higher picture perspectives, in particular talking about how you can bring your oversoul into your body in this age of kind of such synthetic artificial intelligence streams. My topic is Christic intelligence in the age of AI, Christic oversoul versus artificial intelligence. So stay tuned for that. Also, in the follow-up event, I'll be discussing the Christic quantum financial operating system, a potential solution in the future timelines for humanity. Just imagine how it might be if everyone was really, truly, deeply embodied in their oversouls, and how would that civilization work if everyone was very spiritually aligned to their spiritual purpose? All of their, let's call it unmet needs and deficiencies were cleared out. They were very calm and clear and coherent on the inside. How would that civilization work? The Christic quantum financial operating system is a system that can authenticate all of that and send energy and resources to those most aligned to their oversoul and scroll. Look forward to seeing you there. All my love.
Puerto Vallarta, here we come. Vamos. Palm trees whisper, freedom in the breeze. Oceans hymn, no chains, no pleas, no rulers, no kings, no scripts to recite. Burn the old book, let the phoenix ignite. Rebirth on the sand, where the rebels convene. A Genesis scene, mind sharp and keen. Dollars to dust, trust in the soul. Anarchapulco, where we break the mold. Anarchapulco, where the spirit flies. New dawn, breaking under open skies. No masters, no limits, no chains to choke. This is freedom's fire, Anarchapulco spoke. Anarchapulco, where the spirit flies. New dawn, breaking under open skies. No masters, no limits, no chains to choke. This is freedom's fire, Anarchapulco spoke. Beach bonfires start spark like flint. Ideas ricochet, no permission, no stint. Borders dissolve, minds expand. Every soul sovereign, every mind grand. No contract signed, just a handshake truth. Ancient wisdom reborn in the fountain of youth. Rules crumble like castles at high tide. Revolution lives where the dreamers reside. Golden horizon, the birth of the free. Echoes of laughter, the waves decree. Freedom is anthem, a beat in the chest. Anarchapulco, where the restless rest. Anarchapulco, where the spirit flies. New dawn, breaking under open skies. No masters, no limits, no chains to choke. This is freedom's fire, Anarchapulco spoke. Anarchapulco, where the spirit flies. New dawn, breaking under open skies. No masters, no limits, no chains to choke. This is freedom's fire, Anarchapulco spoke.
With performing artist Ayame. Anarchapulco opening party on February 15th. Anarchapulco Genesis, February 16th to 20th. The Dollar Vigilante TDV Summit, February 21st. The Crypto Vigilante TCV Summit, February 22nd. Agorapulco, retreats, and other excursions, February 21st to 27th. Bufo and other plant medicines with Bear Heart throughout the event. A special Iboga ceremony with Christoph Melchizedek from February 23rd. 2 Tesla plasma healing devices will be running throughout the event. Thanks to the Tesla Club. Bring the whole family. The Anarchapulco family camp runs throughout the event with activities for non-lethally injected, free-range, unschooled pure souls. Anarchapulco 2026. Genesis. Puerto Vallarta,